Chess Academy. Thank you very much for subscribing to our channel and watching the videos. In the previous lesson, we have discussed about how to arrange the board, names of the pieces and their respective values. In this lesson, let's discuss about the piece movements, how to move each of the pieces. Let's begin with the king. A king can move in any direction, but its mobility is restricted to only one square. As you can see on the board, we have the white king placed on d5 square. It can move to any of its adjacent squares, but only one move at a time. See, all the squares that are marked in green color, which are accessible to the white king. So we can say that the king can move to only its adjacent squares. It cannot jump two squares at a time. It can only move one square at a time. Now, can you tell me what are the moves available to the black king? I mean, wherever he can move, please identify the squares. Here, the g8 square, yes, and g7 square, correct. I hope you remember how to identify the squares. In the last lesson we have discussed. It is g7. We call it g7 because it is placed on the g file and 7th rank. So that's how we name the squares. Hence it's called g7. And this is g8. Okay. So the black king can move only to these two squares, g8 and g7. It cannot jump or cannot move to the h7 square because his own pawn is placed. So it is important to know that we cannot move our pieces into any square which are occupied by our own pieces. Neither the king jump over it nor he can occupy it. And now coming to the next piece, that is the queen. Queen is the most powerful piece on the board because of its features and its mobility. Queen can go in any direction, I mean vertically, horizontally, and even diagonally. So you can see all the squares that are highlighted are accessible to the white queen. In this vertical direction and this way, forward, backward, sideways, wherever he wants. Yeah, vertically, horizontally, and then diagonally also. So queen goes in 3 different directions. Yes, you can go forward, backward in all the 3 directions. Here you can see why the queen is such an important piece, because it's covering 27 squares just by sitting in the middle. It can access to any of these 27 squares. So the kings are important. The power always lies with the queens. Okay, we'll move on to the next piece, that is the rook. The rook is the next important piece on the board. Similar to the queen, it can also move any number of squares in its direction as long as there is no obstruction in between. The rook moves in only 2 directions, as you can see on the board, that is vertical and horizontal. 5, and it can go to any square in this row from a5 to h5. And on this vertical line we have 2 pawns placed. One is black, the opponent's pawn, and another is white, our own pawn. Since the rook cannot jump over any piece, so it can move up to d7. we can capture this pawn. So the rook can go to d6 and d7 also, we can capture this. And when it comes to our own pawns, we cannot capture them, we can neither jump over them. So the rook can move up to d3 only. We have seen that the queen moves in 3 different directions: vertical, horizontal and diagonal. So now we can say that the queen minus the diagonal moves equal to the rook, because it can move vertical and horizontal, same like the queen, but it cannot go in the diagonal direction. Next is the bishop. The bishop moves diagonally. As you can see in the picture, the bishop on d5 can go to any square in its diagonal as long as there is no obstruction. Similar to the rook and queen, it can move to any number of squares. At the same time, it cannot jump over any pieces. So here you can see the bishop can move to c6, b7, a8, c4, b3, a2, and in this diagonal we have the black pawn in between, so we can actually capture that pawn since it is opponent's pawn. Of course, we cannot move to this square, the g8 square, as we have the pawn placed on f7 which is obstructing the g8 square. So we can move up to here, we can capture. So but in this diagonal we have our own pawn, so we can neither jump over it nor can capture it. So we can move up to the f3 square here. F3 and e4 are only 2 accessible squares in this diagonal. So here we can understand one thing, that the bishop at the beginning of the game, if it is placed in the light square or if it is placed in the dark square, it will remain in the same color throughout the game. Position of the bishops, one is placed in the dark square and another one is placed in the light square. This dark squared bishop, throughout the game it will move in the dark colors only, it cannot move on to any light square. And this light squared bishop, throughout the game it will be moving in the light squares only, it can never come to any dark square. So here we can understand one thing, that if you lose one of the bishops during the game, for example you lost your black bishop and you have only your light squared bishop to play with, if your opponent places all his pieces in dark squares, you will never be able to capture any of his pieces with your bishop, because it can never go to dark squares and attack him. So based on this fundamental idea, some important endgame concepts are built, which we will discuss in the advanced lessons. Remember, the bishop moves diagonally in the same color throughout the game. And compared to the queen moves in 3 directions: vertical, horizontal, diagonal. So bishop moves only one direction, that is diagonals. So we can again say the queen minus vertical and diagonal movements equal to the bishop. You can also say the bishop plus rook is equal to the queen. So queen is a combination of rook and bishop's movements. Next we have the knight. It is a unique piece. Unlike other pieces, it does not move in a straight line. Also, it can jump over other pieces. It moves 3 squares at once, the 2 not in the same direction, 2 squares forward and 1 square sideways. The knight's maneuvering is actually a bit confusing, but I will tell you how to remember it easily. It typically resembles an L shape. Here, these 4 lines in plus shape. Okay, the knight from here can move 2 squares forward and can either turn left or right 1 square. Again, from here it can go 2 squares downward and again it can turn left or right. Similar, sideways 2 squares, then 1 square upward or downward. Similarly, right side 2 squares, 1 square upward or downward. It's easy to remember this way. If you just focus on these 4 lines, knight at the middle of the board can go in 4 different directions, and from the 4 directions, each direction it has 2 squares to choose, right side 1 and left side 1. So that way total it is covering 8 squares, which means it can move to any of these 8 squares. The knight can jump over these black pawns. It can move to this c7 square. It can capture this pawn on b6. It can capture this bishop on e7. It can move to f6, f4, e3, but not to this c3 and b4 squares, because these are our own pawns, so knight cannot land on them. Here also one more thing you need to understand, that the knight can only jump over these pawns and capture this bishop, or can come to this c7, but it cannot capture all the pawns that are in its way. The knight captures only the pieces which are placed on the landing square, not the pieces which are in between. But it can jump. It can jump over this rook and come here, but it cannot capture this rook because it's on its way. Just because it is its way to the landing square, it cannot capture. It will jump over these pieces and come to this e3 or f4, but it captures only on the landing square. Now, unlike other pieces, in order to understand the knight maneuvering, you have to practice it. I would suggest you to get a real board in front of you and take a knight and start moving the knight to every corner of the board in all the possible directions. That is how you learn the knight maneuvering, only through practice. Last but not the least, the pawns. The pawn has only 1 point, as we have seen in the previous lesson. Its value is 1 point. Because of its mobility, it moves only 1 square at one go, and also it cannot move backwards, the important feature of the pawns. The main drawback of pawns is they cannot move backwards. That's why we need to be careful with our pawn moves, because once we move them, we cannot retreat. Unlike the pieces which can move forward and backward, the pawns move only forward direction. They cannot move backward. They move one square at one go. Here we can see how the pawns move. Only one move at one go, but from the starting square, that is the second rank for whites and the 7th rank for blacks, that is the starting square in the initial position for pawns, right? So from the starting square, the pawns can move 2 moves also. See here, you can see the b pawn going to b4 square at once. But once you touch the pawn and move only 1 square, then you lose the chance of moving it 2 squares forever, because you have moved it only once. Here you want to move 2 moves again, it's not possible. So only from the initial position you have the option of moving it either 1 square or 2 squares, like this. So if you want, you can move it 2 squares at once, but after that, from there again, they will go only 1 square per move. And another important feature of pawns is that they move in one direction, that is forward, but they capture in a totally different direction, that is diagonally. A pawn captures only diagonally. A pawn cannot capture another pawn which is right in front of it. It can only capture either this side or this side. So here we can capture the black pawn. And also another important concept, a bit confusing for many, is that the concept of en passant capture. It's nothing but here black has the option of moving his pawn to either f6, or he can directly move to f5. Here white also has the option in the very next move to capture this pawn which has crossed it attacking line. This is the attacking square of white, right? Because we can capture anything that is on this f6 square. Since he has crossed this line, we can capture him here. Once again, say for example, if he moves to f6, we all know that we can capture it here. But what if he moves to f5, just jumping the square which we are attacking? Still we can capture him on the f6 only. Clear? This is the concept of n%. It will be clear as you keep playing games and practice it 1 or 2 times. It's easy. And another important feature of the pawns is that a pawn can be promoted to any piece that we want. Say for example, if we move the pawn to the last square, that is the 8th rank for whites and the 1st rank for blacks. So once we move the pawn to the 8th rank, it can be promoted to any square, not necessarily queen. We can choose any piece that we want as per the requirement. Generally people prefer queen because that is the strongest piece. See, here we can select any piece. You can promote the pawn to queen, rook, bishop or knight. So it's not necessary that we have to take the queen. Sometimes any other piece like knight, bishop or rook may be a better idea to promote than queen. I will tell you in the next lessons when to promote your pawn to other than queen. This is how the initial setup of the board looks like. From white side it will be seen as A to H and 1 to 8, and from black side it will be seen like this, H to A and ranks 8 to 1. So hence now we have learned how to arrange the board, the names of the pieces, their respective values, and how to move the pieces. So in the next lesson we will discuss about how to start a game. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do subscribe to our channel and please provide your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.